Hello, Gaming Noodle here with a review of the game Tera Online. Please be advised I am reviewing this MMO on its release, and many things are subject to change within the game. That is just the nature of MMOs. Tera Online is a self-proclaimed true action combat MMORPG from the Korean company Bluehole Studios. While there has been some controversy surrounding the company with legal issues involving NCSoft, its first game has finally been released to the West. Now some of you may cry out grind having heard the words Korean and MMO next to each other, so I want to get this out of the way right now. Having already played to max level, I can safely say this is perhaps the quickest I have ever leveled in any MMORPG ever, whether it be Eastern or Western. There are 7 races in the game: the humans, Kastanik, Aman, Popori, Elin, Baraka, and High Elf. Along with this, there are 8 classes to choose from, consisting of Archer, Berserker, Lancer, Mystic, Priest, Slayer, Sorcerer, and Warrior. From what I understand, long ago the gods Arun and Shara created a universe, and they went to sleep. Their bodies became the world, their breath the wind, and their tears the sea, and their dreams became living inhabitants of this world. The races of this world formed a world government known as the Valkion Federation, which sends you, among others, to investigate a new island that has risen out of the sea. There is a lot of lore in this game, and I'll admit that I did try to go through all of the text at the start of the game, but got bored of it. Although as time went on, the story really did pick up and get interesting near the end. This is one of the best looking games I've ever played, and I'm not just talking about MMOs, I mean games period. The art direction is very noticeably Eastern flavored, so expect some risque designs for the female clothing. What I love about the models is that everything has a sculptured look, which adds to the meatiness of the creatures. Monsters from basilisks to ice giants to flying dragons all have their own distinct appearance, and it's incredible. Character models look just as good, and you may spend hours on the creation screen itself trying to nail that perfect look. The gear is one of those things that just blew me away. It has some of the best designs I've seen, which are affected by the race you choose. A Kastanik warrior's gear will not look the same as a human warrior's gear. The animations are on par with the graphics in my opinion. Lots of variations, such as the somewhat goofy and fun movements of the Popori to the stoic stances of the Baraka. The enemies can move in crazy ways as well, one of my favorites being the dragons that fly high into the air, then crash down onto you, stopping their forward momentum into a tumble. Bluehole Studios really did take such great effort and care with this side of the game, and it paid off. The music of Tera was done by Inon Zur and Rob Abernethy, whose works have been heard in such games as Dragon Age and Dead Space. Being truthful, the music wasn't that interesting for me. Granted, some tracks were very enjoyable, most of it was just forgettable. Games such as Guild Wars, World of Warcraft and Lineage 2, to name a few, all had amazing music that really helped flesh out the zones I was playing in. And while the world of Tera is beautiful, I couldn't help but feel a little let down by the music. I just didn't think it was as great as it could have been. Of course, this isn't much of an issue for people that usually just turn off the in-game sound anyway and put on their own music. The voice acting is completely hit or miss. As far as sound effects go, everything sounds crisp and clean, from grunts and screams to sword slashes and charged bursts. But as far as the NPC voice acting is concerned, it can get extremely annoying after a while. Although the quality of the VA work does increase for the many cutscenes scattered throughout the game, although getting the words to sync well with the characters' mouth movements seemed a bit of an issue with the English dubbing. Tera has 21 dungeons released with the game, including hard modes, but is missing key elements such as the political system, Nexus, and PvP grounds, so I cannot comment on those. It has a broker/auction house system, as well as an instant matching system that forms groups for dungeons with players across all servers. There are also fun little additions such as mounts and armor and hair dyes, among other things. As of right now, the main thing to do once you've leveled to max is to run dungeons. I can tell you from experience that the max level dungeons are no walkover, as the BAMs require good thought out and well executed strategies. I got to experience that great feeling you get when discussing with your group how to dismantle a foe and then actually doing it after a few wipes. I haven't touched the professions such as alchemy or blacksmithing, as they are plagued with bad design. The requirements for even low-level items require a lot of gold and or farming to craft, when it's easier to find a green on the broker system for much cheaper. It's something en masse need to look into to fine-tune a lot better for it to even become a desirable alternative to acquiring gear. Gathering materials and herbs is a lot like Aeon, from what I can remember, but a cool feature is that when you successfully pick a herb or mine an ore, you get a buff that helps with your combat ability, whether it be buffing your speed or HP regen, etc. Your weapons and armor also have slots where you can purchase crystals to put them in. These crystals have all sorts of effects that can help buff your character. For instance, higher crit rate when attacking monsters from behind, or say more HP. And the glyph system in this game is a godsend. It helps very much with the current skills that your class has, and it improves them in certain ways. There are quite a few options for your skills, however you want to buff them, your favorite ones. Once you decide on that, you buy the glyph that you want, you learn it, and there you go. But be warned that you do have a limited amount of points to use, and each glyph does use a couple of points. This game's main focus is its true action combat, which basically means that you have an aimer at the center of your screen, and when you click or press a button, your skill will fire in that direction. There is no lock-on like a targeted MMO such as World of Warcraft, where you click on a monster and you're basically locked onto it, and you can fire any and all of your spells at will. In this game, you need to aim your reticle at the target, but if you fire off a shot and your aim is bad, you'll miss. If the target dodges out the way, you'll miss. But it works both ways. Enemy attacks can be avoided if you can block or dodge in time. It really is fun once you get the hang of it, but I couldn't help but feel that if they had pushed it just a little bit further, it would have been a lot more fun. Every time you get into combat, your running speed is decreased automatically, and it feels too slow for my liking. I feel if they took out the speed penalty, it would have been a lot more exciting. Although it should be noted that you can get crystals that do alleviate the speed issue slightly. Knockbacks are another thing. If you aren't careful, it's possible to get chain stunned and hit with massive attacks before you can even get back up. And there are no invincible animation cycles for when your character is in a state of picking itself up from the ground, which sometimes results in a quick death you had no control over, which ultimately feels really cheap. Mind you, I am talking strictly PvE here. I am not much of a PvPer, but I do realize PvP is a big part of this game. It's a shame that Battlegrounds have not yet been implemented, as I don't think the open world gankfests are in any way entertaining. The other major thing about this game is the BAM, which is an acronym for Big Ass Monster. What these are, as the name implies, are huge boss monsters that can be found in the open world of Tera, and in the dungeons where they drop loot. These fights are dangerous and come in all shapes and sizes, from dragons to giant crabs to half-organic, half-mechanical antagonists of the game, the Argons. I've fought hundreds of BAMs so far in my time in Tera and have enjoyed every single fight. Some scenarios, especially in dungeons, can get pretty damn epic. I can't count the number of times I've almost got myself into trouble for trying to get in dangerous spots just to take a cool screenshot. The double-edged sword here are the BAM quests that appear multiple times in each zone. They are some of the most fun and have great rewards for completion, but when the game dies down after the initial rush, I can't help but feel that when I try to make an ult, I'll be forced to skip half of the quests in the log that involve BAMs, because there won't be hardly anyone else around to help. Sure, friends and guilds can remedy this slightly, but for soloers who would rather not rely on having others on hand and foot just to level up, it will be an issue. While it is possible for classes to solo BAMs, it's not advisable unless you are very skilled and have a lot of time on your hands. I should point out that while Unmass, who are the publishers for Tera in North America, have told us that it's possible to solo all the way to max level, it is not advisable. The higher up the levels go, the more bloated the enemy's HP gets, resulting in long fights that take time to end. Getting a group benefits in complete domination of any quest you may be doing, as monsters die quickly. For a lot of people, a duo would suffice for quicker leveling instead of going through the trouble of trying to get a full group just to quest. As I said earlier, the leveling speed is very fast for an MMO, but for some it may start to feel grindy in the sense that the quest system is terribly outdated, as it consists of the usual kill this many monsters, collect that many items. In conclusion, I feel the game is different enough that it's a fresh change of pace from some of the other offerings that are out there in the MMO world. The combat can be fun, the BAM fights are epic, and the journey throughout Arborea is fun when diving into the lore. Once the rest of the features are implemented, such as PvP battlegrounds, the political system, and the Nexus events, then it will be well on its way. Negative preconceived notions of what a Korean MMO is should not be held against this game. It's got a very solid start for an MMO, and I'm very eager to see what the future holds for this game. I'm giving Tera a 7 out of 10.